7 centuries ago, in the beating heart of West Africa, something extraordinary began. It wasn't written in royal chronicles, nor carved in stone monuments. Instead, it lived within a melody, a strange, haunting tune sung not to praise kings, nor to mourn fallen warriors, but whispered across generations like a sacred secret. The melody was peculiar. It wasn't merely words. It was numbers, rising and falling in rhythm, chanted as though each digit carried more weight than any lyric. Entire villages remembered it, yet no one fully understood it. At that very time, history remembers another force. Mansa Musa, the emperor of Mali, his pilgrimage to Mecca in the year 1324, became one of the most astonishing spectacles in recorded history. He scattered gold so freely that markets collapsed, currencies broke, and entire regions reeled for a decade. Chroniclers from Cairo to Damascus, from Spain to Arabia, recorded the journey of the emperor whose wealth seemed limitless. Yet even the most detailed accounts leave us with a haunting mystery. If Mansa Musa gave away 200 tons of gold, why did Mali's rivers of wealth still flow so richly? And more importantly, what happened to the rest? For even the most cautious estimates suggest the empire's reserves should have far exceeded what the world witnessed. Where did the missing treasure go? Centuries passed. Colonial historians dismissed the questions as myths, insisting African storytellers exaggerated. Scholars debated, shrugged, and turned to safer subjects. But through it all, one truth survived. The griots kept singing. 14 families, 14 fragments, 14 songs, each carried across centuries, scattered across the old Mali Empire. Were these songs just echoes of memory? Or were they instructions, a message concealed in melody, waiting for the right ears to hear? The story's rediscovery did not begin in a palace of marble, nor in a library of ancient scrolls. It began in the dust of a village wedding, just 200 kilometers from Timbuktu. The air was filled with joy. Women clapped their hands in rhythm, their bright garments swirling like fire in the dusk. Children ran barefoot through the sand, weaving between the dancers. Drums echoed into the night sky. Guests from across the Sahel gathered under the stars to celebrate love, laughter, and community. Among them sat a man who, on the surface, was just another guest, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Trained as an engineer, he carried within him both a love of precision and a devotion to African history. To the villagers, he was respected but unremarkable. Yet that night, fate marked him for something far greater. As the celebrations reached their peak, the griot was invited forward. His name was Bakari Kadam. Bent with age, his eyes clouded by cataracts, his voice was still strong enough to carry centuries. He began with the familiar songs of warriors who had defended their land. Songs of lovers whose devotion outlasted famine and war. Songs of harvests that fed generations. The crowd clapped politely. They had heard these tales many times before. But then, his voice shifted. The rhythm changed. His Mandinka chant began to sound strange. Out came numbers. 147, 3, 21, 95. The melody rose and fell like an equation set to music. Guests shifted uneasily. Some chuckled. Others frowned. To many, it sounded like the rambling of an old man. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat upright, his heart racing. An engineer sees patterns where others see noise. A historian hears whispers where others hear nonsense. Captain Ibrahim Traoré realized the truth immediately. This was not random. This was a code. When the song ended, silence lingered like smoke. A bride laughed nervously. Someone clapped to break the tension, and the wedding moved on. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré could not let the song go. Later that night, he approached the old griot. That song, he asked gently, where did it come from? Bakari's clouded eyes seemed to look through him, across centuries. My father told me, he whispered, as his father told him, and his father before him. Back to the time of the great king's journey. We were commanded to remember, but never to understand. To sing, but never to seek. To preserve, but never to pursue. The great king, Captain Ibrahim Traoré pressed. Do you mean Mansa Musa? The griot nodded slowly, reverently. The richest man who ever lived. They say he destroyed economies with his generosity, but the song tells a different story. He did not carry it all. He left much greater wealth hidden, guarded by riddles only his descendants could decipher. 14 songs in all. My family keeps the third. Only when they are sung together will the path reveal itself. The words struck Captain Ibrahim Traoré like thunder. Historians had puzzled for years over contradictions in the record. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage is among the most documented journeys of the medieval world. 60,000 followers. 100 camels, each burdened with gold. Yet the math never added up. Even conservative calculations suggested at least 1,500 tons of gold should have been in Mali's possession. Where had it gone? Colonial historians dismissed it as exaggeration. But standing in that village, under the starlit sky, Captain Ibrahim Traoré realized something shocking. The numbers weren't fantasy. They were evidence. Evidence of something vast, deliberate, and hidden. He leaned closer. "Babuba," he said softly, "teach me your song." Every word, every pause, every rhythm. The griot fell silent. At length he replied, "You are not of my blood. This knowledge is sacred." Captain Ibrahim Traoré's voice did not waver. "Not as a president, not as a scholar, but as a son of Africa, I ask. If this treasure exists, it belongs not to one family, not one village, not one nation. It belongs to us all." Would Mansa Musa wish his gift to remain buried, or to serve his people at last? Traoré looked to the sky. Stars burned cold and eternal above. He said nothing more, but the seed was planted, and so began a quest unlike any other. Officially, it was called a cultural preservation project and effort to record the last songs of the griots before they faded forever. Academics applauded. Ethnomusicologists packed notebooks. Historians and linguists signed up eagerly. To the world, it was scholarship. To Captain Ibrahim Traoré, it was something else entirely. Piece by piece, family by family, he sought the fragments. In Mali, 3 griot families still preserved songs said to come from Musa's own court. In Senegal, 2 more families traced their lineage to royal marriages that bound the Wolof and the Mali. In Guinea, 4 griots descended from nobles who fled during the empire's collapse. In Mauritania, 2 families of Berber traders had kept fragments alive among caravan routes. And among the Tuareg of the desert, another. In the Ivory Coast, a line of miners who once supplied the empire. And in Burkina Faso, warriors who swore to protect the secret at all costs. 14 songs in all, 14 pieces of a map scattered across 700 years of conquest, colonization, and temptation. Some families refused outright. Others demanded rituals of respect. Captain Ibrahim Traoré knelt in sacred circles, answered riddles of history, and endured ceremonies older than nations themselves. Slowly, the songs emerged. The greatest test came in Mali, with Aminata Diabate, a 95-year-old griot, frail in body, fierce in spirit. She carried the very first song. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré entered her home, she looked at him for a long time before speaking. "I have been waiting for you," she whispered. "Not you as a man, but you as a moment. The ancestors told us a leader would come. Not royal, not rich, but called to unite when Africa was ready. You are that one," she sang. And as her voice joined the fragments already gathered, the pattern sharpened. The songs were not poetry. They were coordinates. The numbers marked rivers, stars, and mountains. Landmarks were hidden within the rhythm. Warnings disguised as metaphors became precise instructions. Piece by piece, the map revealed itself. It pointed north to the Adrar de Ifoghas, mountains straddling Mali and Algeria, remote and hospitable, a place where few dared to linger. And with it came 3 warnings. The mountain eats the greedy. The breath of death sleeps until awakened. And the first gold is the last gold for the foolish. By the time the 14th song was gathered, Captain Ibrahim Traoré knew the journey must begin. So the final question is not whether Africa will rise, that is already happening before our eyes. The question is how far Africa is. No nation is doomed to remain behind. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more stories of transformation, hope, and resilience to the world and tells about African lights.